Have you ever seen a Doctor Who fan throw their action figures out of the pram? Well, you're about to.
If you wanna have to leave your home, just mess with a bottle of corn. You gotta make it to the woods if you can. If you can, if you can, you gotta make it to the woods if you can.
I want to like Ruby Sunday, but something about her bugs me. So today I'm doing a karmic cleanse and broadcasting my complaints on the internet. In this post-COVID economy, it's cheaper than therapy. Today I'll explain why Ruby is an underwritten companion with a personality but no character, and why autism may have influenced my verdict. To do this, I'm going to compare Ruby with my favourite New Who companion, Bill Potts, and talk about personality, development, and treatment by the narrative. Where does neurodivergence come into this? Stick around to find out. Imagine two paintings of a person, one done by a professional artist, one done by a young child. The artist's painting has many subtle strokes, invisible unless you stand really close, which make the portrait come to life. The child's painting uses big, clumsy slaps of paint, which make their person look unrealistic even from a distance. The former is Bill Potts. The latter is Ruby Sunday. What do I mean? Let's look at their first scenes with the Doctor and compare the pair. Bill first meets the Doctor while he's undercover as a university lecturer. Bill waits in his office. On the desk is a mug of sonic screwdrivers. Bill stares at it, then impulsively reaches for one at the same time as the Doctor strums his guitar, very loudly. In seconds, we discover a defining feature of Bill's character: curiosity. This is expanded on as she asks the Doctor rapid-fire questions about the TARDIS and his lectures. Bill's laser focus allows her to notice small details which others overlook. The Doctor asks what she is doing at this university. Bill says that she always wanted to come here, and the Doctor sarcastically replies, "Yeah, to serve chips." An angry pause follows before Bill says, "So anyway, am I done?" and walks away. This introduces us to character trait number 2, Bill's temper. On paper, being curious and temperamental are generic companion traits. Due to the show's format, companions need to be curious and have righteous indignation, otherwise they wouldn't be interested in time travel or be able to confront monsters. Moffat sets Bill apart by giving her a third character trait, eccentricity. Unlike other companions, who ask questions when the plot needs them to, Bill's questions are weirdly specific and often unrelated to events. When she sees something unfamiliar, Bill rationalizes it by relating it to something she knows. For example, she compares the TARDIS to a knock-through, a kitchen, and a lift. When we look at Bill's dialogue, her uniqueness is even more obvious. I'm going to show you some lines from Capaldi's Doctor. See how straightforward they are? His dialogue is quick and a little sharp, much like him. Now look at Bill's. Something you'll notice is Bill often reiterates the same idea 3 times in 3 different ways. This creates rhythm and makes Bill feel like an impulsive speaker whose thoughts overflow as she edits herself in real time. Even the words she chooses are unusual. Bill is speaking to a professor, and normally with authority figures, we use formal language to convey respect, and we keep conversation impersonal and polite. Bill uses informal language and plunges into a story about her crush. She talks to the Doctor the way she would a friend. This is a beautifully crafted individual who is brilliant at noticing small details and completely overlooks social norms. As an autistic person, I relate to this so much it hurts. Now look at Ruby. Her introduction to the Doctor happens over 2 scenes. Scene 1, Ruby watches the Doctor dance in a bar. She drops a glass and he magically appears to pick it up. There's not much here. they mostly discuss this episode's mystery, why is Ruby so clumsy? Clumsiness could be a character trait, but we know it's due to goblin shenanigans, so let's press on. Scene 2, Ruby climbs out a window to rescue baby Lulubelle, meets some goblins, and scales a rope ladder to pursue them. This gives us 2 character traits in one go, boldness and protectiveness. Ruby is not afraid to take risks, especially when there's an endangered child. This makes sense. Ruby was abandoned as a baby and empathizes with Lulubelle's plight. Ruby confronts the goblins. This brings us to character trait number 3, feistiness. So far, this characterization is solid. Clearly, effort has gone into distinguishing Ruby from other people. I have problems though. First, how different is Ruby from previous New Who companions? If you're new to the show, maybe Ruby does feel fresh and original. To me, she's a retread of Rose, Donna, Amy, and Clara. And unlike them, nothing about Ruby stands out. Ruby's voice is likewise uninspired. Let me show you some Ruby lines. They're very plain. There isn't much rhythm or personality. In fact, you could insert lines from another companion and I wouldn't notice. And see something else? These lines are all intended to generate exposition. Now, I get it, companions are supposed to help the audience understand the show, but see how natural exposition sounds when it's coming from Bill, who relates things back to her own experiences and speaks organically. Ruby's lines don't flow. In this scene, she jumps from one random idea to another, seemingly because the script needs the Doctor to explain the next part of the scene. 1 minute, it's goblins. The next, it's the anti-mavity gloves. But Lingua, Ruby does stand out. She's a foundling looking for her birth mother. Well, the lost orphan is an age-old trope. It's been done to death on Doctor Who, and I would argue, done way better. Bill was an orphan too. In Season 10, multiple scenes explore how her mum's absence has impacted her life. Watch any scene with Bill's foster mother and you sense that Bill has been emotionally neglected. Her foster mother hands her cash for Christmas because she doesn't know what to buy for Bill. She brings strange men home without any regard for Bill's feelings. She hasn't even noticed that Bill is gay, and Bill seems scared to come out to her. Bill is so starved for connection that she imagines her mum's voice in her head and talks to her mum's photo. We keep being told that Ruby is a foundling and wants to find her birth mother, but why? Apart from the snow scenes, we don't see the impact being adopted has had on Ruby. If anything, it's the reverse. We see her enjoy loving relationships with her adoptive mother and grandmother, and they have a lovely home environment together. Now, I know you don't need a justification for wanting to find your birth parents. Also, I'm not a foundling, so I can't speak to this experience personally. But I find the snow scenes frustrating. Unless I connect emotionally with Ruby's journey to find her mum, I'm not going to care about the mystery box. We've established Ruby's personality is derivative and underdeveloped, but maybe you enjoy the nostalgia of having a Rose or Amy adjacent companion. Well, I would argue that Ruby is not only derivative, she's a poor imitation. Which brings me to... We now know some basic facts about Bill and Ruby, but for them to develop, we need to see how their characters affect the narrative and vice versa. Every personality trait is a double-sided coin, which can have good or bad consequences. Now, Bill's temper does have consequences. On one hand, she doesn't take nonsense from the Doctor and Nardole. However, she's also highly reactive, and this creates conflict. In Thin Ice, Bill's temper triggers a big argument between her and the Doctor about death, which takes a significant chunk of the episode to resolve. At the end, Bill learns to understand the Doctor's viewpoint better, and she alters her own. I can't remember a scene where Ruby's brashness has serious consequences. In Space Babies, she makes noise to attract the bogeyman, and it's all fine. In Boom, she refuses to leave the Doctor alone in the minefield, He's annoyed, but immediately forgives her. Even when shot, Ruby comes back to life before the episode finishes. In 73 Yards, which should be about the consequences of Ruby's actions, the loop resets at the end, rendering every event totally pointless. Bill starts as a companion who doesn't fully trust her doctor. By Oxygen, she is hugging and entrusting her life to him. Every episode, Bill grows in confidence. At the start of the season, she sees a water monster and nearly wets herself. In her penultimate story, she's leading a Roman platoon into battle. This makes it more tragic when her belief in the Doctor leads her to be cyber-converted. Ruby doesn't develop. In the church on Ruby Road, she is uncomfortable meeting the goblins, but accepts their existence, not to mention the idea of space-time travel, remarkably quickly. There is no human response to the weirdness going on around her. Therefore, I, the viewer, can't take the on-screen action seriously, and neither can I take Ruby seriously. Within minutes of meeting the Doctor, Ruby is hugging and joining him in song, and this feels totally unearned. So do the moments where the Doctor says, "It's better looking at the universe through your eyes." The relationship is so rushed that it's unsatisfying. The narrative treats Bill like an ordinary human in extraordinary circumstances. The narrative treats Ruby like an extraordinary human who makes the universe even more extraordinary. One of the things I appreciate about Bill is that she doesn't have a title like the Impossible Girl or the most important woman in the whole of creation. Bill is someone I might meet on the street. Ruby, right from the word go, is given accolades by other characters. The narrative keeps insisting that Ruby is amazing, but when I don't buy Ruby as a character, this feels like the script grabbing me by the shoulders and shaking me, insisting that I erect a Ruby Sunday shrine or else. Now, it's possible that my neurodivergence plays a part here. My brain is wired to hone in on small details like a magnifying glass. I also have a demand avoidance profile. This means that an instruction which doesn't make sense to me or goes against my programming can trigger a stress response. For example, if I'm in the zone, writing, being asked to take the bins out could trigger a disproportionate reaction. When I am particularly sensitive to flaws in Ruby's characterization, and am told by the script that I should like her, it's unpleasant, like a mosquito buzzing around your head which you can't see. I know this is a me problem and other people probably won't be bothered. Ultimately though, I think it's useful to understand how different minds work. Then, if you see someone getting upset about something small, or making a YouTube video about it, you can show compassion. We're all weird. We all have pet peeves, and apparently, Ruby Sunday is my latest one. I'm not on board the Ruby train yet, but I want to be. Please tell me in the comments things you like about Ruby. I would love to see her as the wonderful character Russell T Davies intended me to see. Thanks for watching Lingua Anomaly. Don't forget that overthinking is a superpower, and there is beauty in the way that you think. Ruby was abandoned as a baby, and so she empathizes with Lulu Bell's flight. Flight? Well, I was half right. We've established Ruby's personality as derivative and underdeveloped, but maybe you enjoy the nostalgia of having a Rosie? Rosie? Who on earth is that? Have you ever heard a Doctor Who action figure Whoops.